Good afternoon. No interlude no introduction this morning, just jumping right into it. Just getting started right off the bat. I have several things I'd like to get done on stream today. Because there's a bunch of stuff I need to also work on off stream. So yeah, that's why we're just jumping right into it. Why is this not working? Oh, there we go. You guys ever can't remember your password? You have like a temporary moment of insanity? That happens to me quite a bit. Let's get the music going here. I also changed the position of my camera in my stream because I feel like it's a better position for making oh, that's loud, for making YouTube shorts. So that's why the camera position changed. Okay. Cool. Yes. Well, I'm not gonna be around for the live event. I'm gonna be at Cal's basketball game. Okay, and let's do a quick audio visual test here. Make sure things look okay. Probably should put my headphones in too. Quick mic check. Actually, it's more about making sure that my lips are in sync with my voice. Because on one of my streams, that was not the case. Testing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Also, the music's a little too quiet. There's quite a delay between what I see on Restream and what actually ends up on YouTube. Yes. It'd be helpful if I actually had viewers. They could help me dial in the sound. Okay, I think I'm gonna split the difference. Okay. Everything's good. We can go back. We can take my face off the big screen. Okay. So like I was saying, I have several things that I want to get done today, and I'm just going to try to work through them like a punch list. So the first couple things I wanted to do was make a couple videos about things that I've recently learned or figured out that I want to be able to share with other people. So I'm just going to do that first and get that out of the way. So the first one is The first one is a NeoVim thing. So let me get set up for that. Let's see. So we need another tab. It's a little bigger. This is going to be in Vim config. Oh, I got some hair gel on my wrist. Okay, let's see. Let's also open up this in Visual Studio Code so I can demo this. Okay. So one of the type of apps that I like to build quite often is .NET console apps. And one of the things that I like to be able to do when building apps is actually debug them. I know that's not something that everybody puts in as part of their workflow. Or I guess everyone probably does debug things, but not everybody probably uses a debugger. They may just use print statements or console write lines. But in my case, I really like to be able to actually attach a debugger to my program and actually step through things. It just makes me much more efficient at figuring out what's going wrong. So I recently made the switch from using VS Code to do a lot of my coding and programming to NeoVim, and so I'm kind of figuring out all these things about how to do what I used to do in VS Code, but do it now in NeoVim. So this is something I recently figured out, and I wanted to share. So I'm going to show you this just small sample program I have set up. It's nothing complex. It's very contrived, but the point is to illustrate what I want to show you. So it's just a simple console program, and all it does is it takes a single command line argument that indicates a particular website that I want to open up, and then it starts a process and actually opens that website in the default browser of my computer. So what I would normally do if I wanted to debug this in VS Code, so let me hop over to VS Code and I'll show you. What I would normally do to debug this in VS Code is I would have a launch.json file, and in this launch.json file I'd obviously have just a basic configuration, right, specifying my console program as the program I want to debug. And then I would also define some inputs in my launch.json file. So in this case, I'm just defining a singular input, that is the arguments, and it's going to be of type prompt string. And then I'm going to pass those arguments in as the args into my debug configuration. So with this set up, what I can do in VS Code now is I can actually set a breakpoint on console.writeLine. And when I actually start the debugger, it's going to ask me to actually put in some arguments. So in this case, let me just go ahead and put in news. And so what should happen now is I should actually hit this console.writeLine, and the program should take into account that argument that I passed, which in this case was the news argument, so it opens Google News. But you can see I've hit that breakpoint. I can see my arguments here. I can see the process that I started. And so that's the basic workflow that I follow when I need to debug a console application that has command line inputs, because that's primarily the way, right, you alter the behavior of your program in a console app, is by passing things from the command line. So it's helpful to be able to, when you want to debug a particular scenario, to be able to pass in the exact command lines in as part of your debug configuration that actually get your application into the state that you want to debug. Now, the program I use in NeoVim to debug things is called nvim-dap, and that's just a plugin that allows you to configure adapters and configurations to basically help debuggers talk to NeoVim, right? And so nvim-dap does support that same launch.json file. It has partial support, doesn't support it completely, but it does have some support for it. And so I should be able to just reuse this existing launch.json file to have that same experience, or that's what I had thought. So let me show you what happens when I try to do this though. So let's go ahead and set a breakpoint here, and then I will start debugging, and I will pick .NET Core Launch Console, because that is the configuration that's coming from my launch.json file. Now, it's going to prompt me for my inputs here, which is great. That's exactly what VS Code does too. So let's go ahead and put in this time GitHub. However, this time when I hit enter, you'll see I get an error, because whenever mvim-dap was trying to parse my launch.json file, it was expecting that args parameter to actually be an array and not a string. And that has traditionally been the case when it comes to launch configurations that are provided for a VS Code launch.json file. So traditionally, this piece of configuration in a launch.json file is an array. So it would actually be, wrapped like this, and then you would specify the different commands that you want to pass in. The problem with doing it this way is it makes it very difficult to dynamically debug aspects of your console application, because essentially you'd have to hard code in here the arguments you want to pass. So in this case, I have to hard code GitHub. And then if I wanted to change to debug what happens when I pass news, I'd have to change it here. Or let's say I have a much more complex console application that has different options and different options for different arguments, then I'd have to always be coming and updating and changing this file to debug my application in the way I want to debug it. So VS Code actually added an enhancement that allows this args option to actually be a string. And it will handle converting that into actual individual arguments to be passed to the command line. However, mvim-dap doesn't support that. So mvim-dap is still expecting this to be an array. So the way you get around this is you have to make some modifications to your NeoVim configuration to actually support dealing with this string as an args. So let's go ahead and look at that modification really quick. So if I go over to back to my shell, you can see I'm back in this program. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to leave this exactly the same and just have it play nice with mvim-dap and NeoVim. So let's go ahead and jump into my configs. So I'll open this up in NeoVim, and I'm going to head to my plugin file. I've got everything configured in my debugging file. And so what I need to do here is I basically need to hook in to some of mvim-dap's functionality and say, hey, when you get a configuration that has this args param, I need you to check and see if it's a string. And if it is a string, I need to convert it into an array of arguments. So that's what we're going to define here. So let's go ahead and jump down below our configurations. Let's jump down below some of this .NET specific stuff. And let's go to where we set up the mvim-dap listeners. Now, I'm going to open up just a reference file so I don't waste your time slowly typing all this out. I made some notes for myself. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically declare a function that the function handles converting a string to an array. And mvim-dap actually provides a nice utility function that makes this much easier. So we're going to declare a local function, and we're going to call it convert arg string to array. And that's going to be equal to a function that we're going to set to, or that's going to be equal to a function as its parameter. And I'm getting this interface is based on the type of function that you need to pass to a particular hook in mvim-dap, and I'll show you that in just a second. But in this function, this is where we're going to do all that work to figure out, hey, does this config have an args property in it? And if it is an args property, is it of type string? And if it is of type string, then we need to do that manipulation. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I want to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and say local C. And this is a recommendation that mvim-dap makes whenever you're defining a function that manipulates a configuration, you should always make a copy of it so you don't inadvertently mutate things in some way that breaks something else. So then we're going to loop over this config, and we're going to say pairs vim.deep copy config, right? So that's where we're making our copy so we don't do something we're going to regret to our configuration. And then we're going to do something very similar to what Copilot's suggesting, but not exactly the same. So we're going to say do end, and then we are going to return C, and then we are going to, whoops, we are going to end, right? Yeah, we're going to end down here. Oh, also my JavaScript brain kicked in. I don't need curly braces here, do I? Let's see. And we're going to remove that curly brace. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and format. And this should be return C. There we go. Okay, now the real work happens inside of this for block. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if there's a key in this configuration that is equal to args, and the type of the type of the value is a string, right? Because if the type of the value is an arg, then it's fine. InVimDApp can handle it. We don't need to modify it. Then what we want to do is we actually want to modify it. And we are going to say require dap.utils.splitStir, and then we're going to pass it that string. So the splitStir is a helper method that InVimDApp provides to split a string into an array of arguments, and this specifically exists because people wanted to do what I'm trying to do. So that's how I know it exists, because I did a lot of sleuthing on the interwebs to figure it out. Otherwise, we're just going to preserve what's already there. Okay, now what we need to do is we actually need to provide this this function to InVimDApp, basically to hook in to say, hey, when you have a config, when you're loading that configuration, right? Before you actually run the configuration, before you actually use it, let me modify it. So InVimDApp provides some listeners to do this. So if I tap dap.listeners, right, very similar to how we're hooking up these listeners down below for DApp UI. Now instead we're going to say listeners.on config, and then we have to pass in a key, right? Because this on config is a table, and so we need to identify which configuration do we want this callback to run against. And in this case, I'm just going to run it against my CS configuration. And then all I'm going to do is say, okay, when the C# configuration gets loaded, I want to convert arg string to array. But you could actually have this apply to all of your configuration. Actually, let's do that. Let's just apply this to all of my configurations, because you might have a node script, right, that has some arguments that you want to debug. So let's go ahead and just loop over all of our configs and let's apply it. So we'll say in pairs dap.configurations do, and then we'll say listeners.on config, and then we'll define the same key that's in the configuration object, and then we'll say just set that equal to the convert string to arg array, like that, right? Now the one thing I want to point out here though is notice if you wanted to do something different with the config, you'd have to define it separately. You'd need to define it separate, right? So if you wanted to do something, if you wanted to modify this configuration in some other way other than just converting the args to a string, right, you'd probably have to pull that config out separately of this loop and define that function. Maybe you still are going to handle converting an arg string to an array, But if you have extra stuff you want to do, you're going to need to have a kind of a whole completely different function, right? So this is a little bit kind of carte blanche approach, but it should work to demonstrate what I want to do. So with that in place now, NeoVim or NVim DApp now knows how to deal with making sure that if we get an args string, we can convert it into the expected array shape. So let's go ahead and write that out. And write all quit. And hopefully I did this right and I won't make myself look like an idiot in the video. Let's go ahead and quit this all. Let's open NVim DApp again. Let's go back to program.cs. Let's set a breakpoint. And now let's click DC and we'll do the same thing. We'll launch it again and we'll say GitHub. And now what I'm hoping is we should actually hit that breakpoint, which we did. So we opened up GitHub, which is great. But you can see now I'm actually hitting that breakpoint in NVim DApp. I have my locals over here that I can look at and inspect, just like within VS Code. And now everything works as I would expect it, the same way I was doing it in VS Code, but now I have the same functionality in NeoVim. And granted, this is a very contrived example, but you can imagine if I had a command line tool that had many different arguments, and each argument has its own set of options, it would be pretty painful to always have to update that configuration file every time I wanted to debug it, or that launch file every time I wanted to debug it in a certain way. This way, I can just define that at the time that I debug the program dynamically, which is really nice. So if you have need for this, I hope it helps you. I know it took me an evening to kind of sort through how exactly I needed to modify my NeoVim configuration, but hopefully it saves you some time. And I'll post a link to my configuration in the description too. All right, cool. So that's my that's the first video I wanted to make. So I'll chop that up later. Let's see, quit all. Cool. Let's go back to my config. Git status. Let's check out git. Check out main. Git status. NVim. Just want to put this back the way I had it. Shift G. Yeah, this is fine for now. Right, quit all. Git branch. Git delete. Or git branch. Delete video. Let's see, git status. And git commit m feature. Allow debugging. With launch.json that uses a args string like that. Okay. Now the other thing I wanted to kind of be able to demo for people is how so one of the things that I've written 2 or 3 console apps in the last month or so, and one thing I continually find myself doing when I use specifically when I use Spectre CLI. So Spectre CLI is a really great library for writing console apps. It has a bunch of nice it provides a bunch of nice ways to output information to the terminal in very interesting ways beyond just print statements. But it also has a really nice framework for building CLI apps. You don't necessarily have to use that framework. You can just use the kind of prettified terminal functionality that it provides, but it does also have a really great framework. And so I've been using that recently. However, out of the box, Spectre Console CLI doesn't provide a way to integrate their dependency injection, how they support dependency injection, with the .NET hosting model for dependency injection, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I a lot of times will use the .NET host in my console apps because it gives a lot of bang for your buck right out of the box. And so you can then, so if you can get the two speaking to each other, I think it just makes life a little easier. So I thought maybe it'd be helpful to make a video of kind of how I do that. Maybe some people would find that interesting. So I think that might be the next thing I kind of walk through, but maybe a little bit longer video, because I'm going to probably start from like a blank slate and work to it being integrated. So maybe a little less formal video, but I still think it would be interesting for people. And even if it's not interesting for people, I think anytime you figure something out and it works, there's probably somebody else that is going to have that same question or that same problem, and maybe they'll find the thing you made and it will save them time. I mean, I know I've personally been on the receiving end of that, where I have a problem or I have an issue, and then I find someone's video or GitHub issue or blog post from, 5 or 6 years ago, and it saves me a whole heck of a lot of pain. So let me pull up I'm gonna pull up some code for reference, because it's almost impossible to make a decent YouTube video that's coding related where you just spit out the code from memory, because that's just not how people build stuff. So let's see. There's really only 2 pieces of the puzzle that I need to show. Well, I guess 3 pieces of the puzzle I need to show. Let's see. But I can pretty much show them all in one. Let's see, duplicate this tab. This is why I need like a 3rd monitor. I'm running out of screen real estate. Let's see. This is going to be a type registrar. This is going to be the type resolver. How are you guys doing today? Is anybody here? Honestly, I don't see anyone anyone's actually watching me. But if you are here lurking, I hope you're having a good day. So far, my Saturday's been pretty good, pretty low key. Haven't done much. Woke up, had some coffee, then started to get ready for the day. Started to think about how I wanted to use my time on stream, and then hey Tax, what's up, man? Yeah, you like the smorgasbord? Oh, what's up, man? Yeah, no, nothing much. Just getting my Saturday started here. Trying to be productive on stream today. So I've got kind of a punch list of tasks and things that I want to try to get done. And so I'm just kind of working through them. But I also thought while I'm doing that, I can chat with you guys. So how's your Saturday going? I always forget, Tax. Are you in the States? Is it daytime for you there, where you are? I always forget. Sorry. I know you said you're going to Disney, so I'm guessing you are. I'm guessing you are in the States, but the time differences always throws me off with some people in my chat. There's been people from like the Czech Republic in my chat. There's been people from India in my chat. So sometimes when I say things, it's like, oh, it probably doesn't hit the same because it's like evening time there. Let's see, what am I doing? I don't need this file anymore. I can close that. SC. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Let's remove sample. We don't need that anymore. Oh, open in VS Code. You got any big plans for your Saturday tax? Anything big going on? Exciting? Oh, where am I from? I'm in Kansas City. Kansas City, Kansas. Or that's not where I'm from. That's where I live now. But I'm originally from a small town in Southwest Missouri. I say small town. It's like a medium-sized town. Cleaning before the trip, nice, dude. Nice. Yeah, I mean, the truth is, honestly though, that's well worth the investment of time, right? Like, coming back to a clean and organized house after you've been away for a week is such a much better way of returning than like walking through the door and immediately being greeted with like 50 things you need to do, including unpack. Are you guys flying or are you driving? One thing I did want to check out while I was on stream is okay, so Convex just announced, if you're not familiar, Convex is like a backend as a service company, but they're open source, and they support self-hosting their service now. So they're open source, now they support self-hosting. They just made an announcement about this this week. So here you go. Here's their write-up on it. And I think they actually made a video too, a YouTube video that goes over it too, pretty in depth. Let's see. Convex self-hosted. Yeah, here we go. So this is kind of, they have both a video and a blog post depending on kind of what you want to do. But this was something I wanted to take a look at. So I thought I might see if I couldn't get my own version of this running. I have a bunch of free credits on fly.io, but I also could set this up on my own server using Docker, I guess, which might be interesting. But then I have to, if I do that, then I have to, I can just use the IP address. Let's see. So cloning, we'll assume you're in a Convex project, cloning a template, adding it to your app with a quick start, or by cloning existing app. So there's hosting on fly.io, hosting using Docker Compose. Let's see, Docker containers on a remote. Okay, this is backend, or no, this is on their own machine. Oh, you're driving 6 hours? Nice. Yeah, that's not a terrible drive, right? I think 8 is kind of the cutoff. I think if you can get it done in 8, this is just my personal opinion, but if you can get the drive done in 8, I think it would be much preferable to drive. And the reason is, here's the reason. When you factor in all the logistical nightmares of flying, like you got to get there early, you got to check your stuff, you got to go through security. If you have to deal with rental cars, right? Let's say you're like traveling for business or something. By the time you add up all of it, you're kind of at 8 hours anyways. Like you're kind of at like, oh, it's a day of travel to begin with, right? For most people, I think that's the case. And so it's like, well, then why not just drive? You can leave when you want. You have a car once you get there. Then you don't have to worry about security. You don't have to worry about bags or limits on what you can pack or take with you. I don't know about affordability. I guess in some cases it's probably more affordable or not. But yeah, I just think if you can get it done and under that cutoff, I think personally I would prefer to drive. I don't think my wife shares that same opinion, but yeah, that's my take on it. Okay, let's see. So you can either build your own container. This is the one I'm kind of interested in, a remote server. Let's see. You can either build your own containers based on the files here or use the pre-built images. In that file, you'll also see environment variables you can use to configure the backend. You need to specify these as environment variables for your container at runtime. Notable ones are convex cloud origin, is where you host the backend that typically talks to the 3210 port and is the equivalent of, okay, it's accessible, okay. Convex site origin is for the 3211 port that hosts your HTTP action endpoints. See here for more details. Let's see. So what do these need to be set to though? Okay. See, the contents of this directory are used to build the Docker images. If you're looking for ways to run self-hosted, see these instructions. Okay, visit the dashboard. Add your URL and admin key. So why do those URLs need to be set? I don't understand. I feel like I say that a lot. I don't understand. But I will understand when it's all said and done. Okay, so these, what are they talking about here? Cloud origin. Okay, so here's so I guess what we're saying here is that these have to be set for whatever your domain resolution is going to be. And there's the dashboard. Oh, they have the dashboard in a separate image too. Nice. Okay, well, let's just try running this. Let's just try doing this locally. Let's just try running this locally. Say cd, or let's make a dir self-hosted convex. Whoops, nope, I don't want to paste the whole command. Just the first line. I've never used digit. What is that? Digit? I don't even know what that package is. I probably should have looked that up before I just ran the command. npm digit. Oh, not debit, digit, sorry. Makes copies of Git repos. Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, well, it looked like it hung there for a second, didn't it? Oh, I didn't shoot. Let's see. Move Docker Compose to self-hosted convex. CD into self-hosted. There we go. Okay, so now we should just be able to say Docker Compose pull. So that's the backend and the dashboard images. The part I don't understand about these environment variables is where's my, there we go. The part I don't understand about these variables is maybe I can understand how they do it on fly. Yeah, so where's the fly configuration? Fly. Where's their backend? Fly.toml. Okay, so what do they do? So how do they get the note the URL of the app that gets printed out, which will be of the form fly.dev. We'll call this the fly backend URL. Oh, okay. So I can I just pick what these are? Hold on, let's see. Docker compose up. Oh, whoops. Actually, I missed a step, didn't I? Hold on. I don't think I generated a key. I think I have to generate a key. Yeah, I have to do this. I have to do this step. I wonder what that does. It's taking a minute for my stuff to sit down. Someone from Twitch is in here spamming. See a Twitch guy. Let's see, how do I block him on Twitch? I guess I can just block them on Restream. There you go. You're out of here, man. I don't know why people spam. It's so lame. I sound like a broken record about that, don't I? Huh. For some reason, the dashboard is just hung. Okay, I'm just going to manually delete them. I'm sure that is not the most graceful thing to do. Docker compose. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Oh, hold on. Do I have to run Docker compose up first? So maybe I didn't miss a step. Oh yeah, the containers need to be running. Okay, so never mind. So Docker compose up. Okay, yep, those got created. There was one error. That's fine. Now let's create a new tab. Let's disable read line over here. CD software, self-hosted convex. Okay, then we're gonna do this guy. Which I think it's okay that I just leaked that because this is just running locally, so I don't think it's gonna be an issue. So to see the dashboard, go to this URL, okay, and enter the okay. So that's how we're basically gonna be able to auth. It's required every time. Interesting. So I wonder how you would do this on a remote server then. This just becomes your login for your remote server, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Okay, so enter that there. Log in. Oh, is it the whole string? Yeah, it's probably the whole string. It's probably why they printed it out, Steven, because it's you need the whole thing. Okay, cool. This is so cool that they provide this, because this, I mean, their service is just baller. It's just I don't have a need really for the cloud part of it, because anything I build is not going to get enough traffic to have to worry about scalability. Kajani Adventures. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, that's probably not just a good rule of thumb for cars, but for anything. Like, don't look at houses if you don't have the money for houses. Don't go looking at additional mechanical keyboards if you don't have the money for mechanical keyboards. There's probably some really good wisdom, like some really good quotes about that, right? Like, don't tempt yourself. There's actually a really good quote that's by I think it's Marcus Aurelius, or maybe it's Epictetus. Let's see. The thoughts brain soak quote, something like that. I don't remember. I can't even remember it now. But yeah, you probably... Do I like cars? No, I'm not a big car guy. As long as the cars get me from A to B, I'm pretty happy. So yeah, not a big car guy. I mean, if you were like... I think someone asked me on stream, like, if you had to pick, like, money wasn't an object, what kind of car would you get? And I think I said a Toyota Tacoma truck. And honestly, that's the only vehicle I ever remember. Like in high school, I remember thinking, before I even was driving, I thought, man, I really like the way those trucks look. I'd love to have one of those. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not something I think about. Like, I think more about getting a electric, like an e-bike. Have you guys ever heard of Super 73? I think more about getting one of these than I think about getting a car. I think these things are just wicked cool. I'd love to have one. Not that even I live really even in the most bikeable city, but like, yeah, I don't know. I would tool around on this thing all the time. Kajani Adventures. I'm a big Turner fan. What's that? Turner? Oh, is that a bike? These? Is that what you're talking about? Turner fans? Or Turner bikes? Do they have e-bikes? God, these are expensive bikes. Whew. I mean, the e-bikes are expensive too, but these aren't even e-bikes, are they? Wow. Yeah, but see, I don't mountain bike, you know? So like this would be much more worth the money, right? Like this could probably get me to work. Honestly, it would probably be like because I think these go like 20 miles an hour, so it'd be a little bit longer of a trip than in a car, but I think this would actually be reasonable to get me to my office. It would definitely be reasonable enough to get me down to my kid's school and back. Tuning? No. Oh, sorry. Tuner fan. Tuning cars. Okay, tuning cars. Oh, so tuning cars is a thing you do, huh? I see what you mean. Your dad builds track cars. Oh, very cool. So like, is it like, is that like open wheel type of cars? Yeah, I get it. You know, being 16, don't have a ton of money. Is that like he builds like these kind of cars, or like, I actually had a friend, growing up. We kind of drifted apart when. You want to do that, yeah? Tune cars, yeah. Very cool. That's cool that you already have an in. Like your dad can probably teach you everything you need to know, huh? I had a friend growing up whose family was real big into dirt track racing. Nope, not open wheel. So just like so tuning cars is like just an activity. Right? Is that what I'm taking it? But I'm guessing you want to do something like with this kind of car. Something like that. Yeah, the most exposure I had to like car stuff was I had a friend whose family owned an engine shop. Yeah, this right here, Yeoman Race Engines. Let's see if they have a website. But yeah, this he was a friend of mine in high school. And their family basically like built engines, but they also raced. Like the grandpa, the dad, and the kid that I grew up with, they all raced. That's the most exposure I really have had to cars, but I'm just not a big car guy myself. I know lots of people are. I mean, oh, yeah, I'd love to see picture of the car. If you go to, you can go to Blue Sky. Blue Sky, and if you got a Blue Sky, you can find my profile, DM me on there. Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, I wouldn't open it. Yeah, I wouldn't dox anybody for sure. Or you can get me on X. I don't know if you have X. Or Twitter. I don't know. Some people refuse to call it X. You can find me on there too if you want to send me a DM there. But it sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, I feel like cars are just like another expression of problem solving and tinkering and Discord. Yeah, I do have Discord. Let me look. I forget what my username is on there. I don't use it a ton. I'm more of a lurker in a few different Discords than I am a participant. Let's see. My username is. Yeah, it's just my name. It's just this. It's just Steven Freeborn. That's my Discord. Oh, weird. Did it not come? I thought it. Oh, there it is. It must have took a minute to post. But yeah, you can send me it there. I'll take a peek. What was I saying? Oh, I was saying that I feel like what's this? Let's see. Let me see if I got the print. Sorry, let me see if I got the print real quick. I got distracted by something else. Yeah, I got you. There you go. I think that was you. Where are you? Where are you from, Kajani? Kajane. I think I'm saying your name right. Kajane Adventures. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a cool car, dude. Your dad built those, huh? Wow. Very, very cool, man. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm not gonna open on stream. Yeah. But very, very cool. He must have a lot of talent. He must be doing that for a real long time, huh? Very, very impressive. Yeah, super, super impressive. Um. Oh, you're Finnish. Oh, very cool. I didn't even know there was. Do you live in Finland still? Is that where you still live? I mean, I guess cars are a thing everywhere, huh? We aren't cut off from the world. Nope, still living here. We aren't cut. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean it like that. That's so American of me. Like, I don't mean it like that. I just I never, when I think of like, I think of like muscle cars and stuff. I always think of like that's very American culture, but cars are probably a thing. I mean, everything's probably a thing everywhere. Wow, the build took 4 years. That's crazy. So are you gonna kind of follow in your dad's footsteps then? Hopefully, take over his shop and stuff. That's pretty cool, man. I'm almost a little jealous of you a little bit because I honestly like it. That's kind of cool that you have somebody who's kind of been there and done that, and they're your dad who kind of can talk you through the process and how it works and what to do and what not to do. I'm a little jealous. Not everybody has that kind of mentorship just built in. Okay, so I got this convex thing running. So this is running. But I want to actually drive the cars on the road. Yeah, dude, do both, right? Why not? Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. My friend in high school. That's what they did, right? Like they had an engine shop. They didn't build the cars, I guess, but they did engine building and engine tuning and things. But then they had like a legit race team. So maybe you guys can do something like that with your shop, right? You can kind of almost become like like a sponsor, right? Build your own race team, and you guys not only like you guys build the cars, maintain the cars. But then track cars are super illegal. Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably can't drive them on the road, but maybe you could actually race, maybe that's how you could get around the illegality part. Yeah. So what I'd like to try to do is I'd like to try to get this working on my other server. So let's do that. Let's try to get this set up. Okay, let's go ahead and stop these guys. Because I think it'd be really cool to have my own convex instance to develop against and deploy against. I mean, imagine driving a NASCAR car daily. Yeah, that would be wild, wouldn't it? You're like leaving the restaurant. You can get into your NASCAR, drive away. That'd be pretty funny. Okay, there we go. So that's stopped. So let's SSH into my... Why can't I SSH into that? Oh, do I not have... I don't think I have this computer set up with a SSH key. Dang, I'm not going to be able to do this right now because I don't want to fiddle with SSH keys on stream. Seems like a bad move. Okay, so but I basically know... Basically, I need to do the same thing but on my server. But I think the point of setting these is so that if you want to access your stuff from a named domain, they need these origins to be set properly to allow the probably to deal with cores, I would imagine. If I'm guessing. So what I need to do is I probably need to set these after I set up the DNS stuff. Okay, we'll have another run at this. We'll have another run at getting this up on a remote server some other time. By default, the self-hosted binary and containers use SQLite, but you can also use Postgres. The database URL environment variable, which is a connection URL for the database. In there, called self-hosted. See the docs. Oh, interesting. The slower your app will be. Ideally, they are on the same data center. Convex's hosted platform do a single record query in less than a millisecond because it's co-located. Okay, so that might be interesting to consider setting up a Postgres instance instead of running in SQLite. I don't know, SQLite's probably fine for anything I'm going to do. Yeah, money's hard, man, at that age. What can you start working in Finland at 16? In the US, most places you have to be 16 to get a job. Like I think in a lot of places, like I think when I started working at 15, but I had to get some sort of permit from somewhere. And I could only work so many hours. There were some legal laws and stuff around it, but I'm not sure how it works where you are. But yeah, money's tough at that age. I mean, the thing is, you could always start a business, right? That's something you can always do. So maybe there's something you can, walk dogs or... Oh, yeah, 18 to get a job, okay. Well, yeah, and I guess I shouldn't say you could always start a business because I'm not sure how that works in Finland. But here in the U.S., I'd say you could always start a job. You could always, start a business, right? Walk dogs or dog sit or, I don't know, take out people's trash. I mean, you could really just try to find chores to do, I guess. But yeah, money's tough at that age. At least in the U.S., you can start working at 16, so you could actually... I mean, the thing is, like, you really should be able to... If you can drive, you should be able to work, because if you're going to drive, you're going to have insurance, you're going to have gas, you're going to have all that stuff. And you should be able to economically, get the resources you need to do it. Okay, so I'm gonna set this aside. I'll come back to this. I'd really like to make a video around self-hosting convex because I feel like every developer, every programmer and coder should take a stab at using convex because I just think they'd fall in love with it, especially for smaller kind of bootstrapping POC projects. Like it removes so much heartache on the back end. You can just basically purely worry about the user experience almost and the design, and just let the rest take care of itself. You don't have to worry about setting up queues. That's all built in. You can do scheduled jobs. Reactivity is built in. Closest store for food is 52 miles from the site. Wow. So is Finland real remote? Or like, are you in a real remote area of Finland? I've never been. I'd love to go. I'd love to go to a bunch of those Nordic countries. Let's see, Google Maps. Let's go to Google Maps. I've gotten a little distracted here with the talk of cars and stuff, but that's part of the fun part of streaming Finland. It's getting to interact with people. Let's see. I don't want to switch. Stop asking me if I want to switch. So is it real remote? So the capital is Helsinki, so that's a port city, huh? And what's the population there? Oh, you don't have to pay taxes on your money if you're under 18? Whew, that's baller. I'd take advantage of that as much as I could. Let's see, Finland population. Oh yeah, it is pretty sparse, right? Because let's see, Finland is 5.584 million people. New York City population is 8 million. So New York City has more people in it than Finland does. But what's the comparison, like New York City size versus Finland? Oh wow, so yeah, it is pretty sparse, huh? Finland's pretty sparsely populated. So New York is approximately 122 square kilometers, and Finland is 338 square kilometers. So Finland is almost 200% larger, but it has half the population, or roughly half the population. So yeah, it's pretty sparse. So do you guys live out in the countryside, I guess, huh? If you have to travel 54 miles. That's pretty crazy, man. Let's see. What were you saying? Oh, I'm trying to get a job through school. Hey, Gandalf, what's up, man? Gandalf's from the Czech Republic, I think, if I remember right. Good to see you back, Gandalf. Oh, you found a job that pays 2.5. Oh, so that's what you're talking about. Is you're saying if you did work that job through school, you'd be in the middle of nowhere, 52 miles from things. Okay, well that would kind of suck, but maybe it'd be worth the money. I don't know, man. It's all trade-off, right? It's all trade-off. Yeah, Czech Republic. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so we'll come back to convex self-hosting another time once I need to set up SSH on this machine. Actually, hold on. Let's see. Let's go CD, OneDrive, desktop, invim, reminders.txt. Set up SSH key on Zephyrus machine for server. Gandalf, wait, police, stop me. What do you mean, Gandalf? I don't know what you mean by that. I live near, let's say, Kajani, Finland, and the job is in Lappi, Finland. Okay, let me look at that. Let's see. You know, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if your dad, Kajani, made made YouTube videos about his car builds. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I know you said it took like 4 years, but I think people would probably find those videos pretty cool. So where's this at? Oh god, I broke something. Oh, so that's like in the middle. So that's like Helsinki's all the way in the south. You're in the middle. And then you said, where? You said... Good job. Lappi. Okay, so let's get some directions. I'm probably butchering all this because all these words are probably Finnish words and I don't know how to pronounce them, so I apologize if I'm butchering them horribly. And that's all the way in the north. Oh yeah. So yeah, you'd be far from home, 6 hours from home. Holy moly. Your parents probably would miss you. I don't know about that. I don't think that'd work for me. I don't think I'd want my boys doing that, you know. At 16, being that far from home. That's crazy though, like in Finland, like you can pretty much traverse the whole country in a day, huh? So if you go from Helsinki to Helsinki. I guess I forget how big the U.S. is, honestly, compared to a lot of other countries. Just in terms of physical size. 12 hours? So it'd take about 12 hours to go from the... Well, I guess the tip of the country's all the way at the top, so... But yeah, that's pretty far, man. I can understand why you'd be hesitant to take that gig. Everyone hates Helsinki except the people from Helsinki. Yeah, so it's like that's like New York City, yeah. Everyone hates New York City except the people that live in New York City. Actually, I don't think I hate New York City, but yeah, that's kind of a big city thing, huh? Doesn't matter what country in the world you live in. The job site is like 20 miles from the Russian border. Oh yeah, and with everything going on with Russia these days, that might be kind of sketch. Yeah, man, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for being hesitant about that one. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a little tutorial right now. I don't wanna bother you guys. I know you may not want to sit around and listen to me talk about how to do something you're not interested in, but I'd like to use this time on stream to get another video made before I hang it up for the day. Let's go back here. Let's go to software projects. I've got a bunch of reference code over here that I need to organize. There, and then one more here. Okay, there we go. Oh, I mean, it pays good. I mean, it does. That's far, man. I don't know how your folks would feel about that. I don't think I'd let my... I don't know. I don't think I'd let my kids at 16 go 6 hours away to work. That's pretty far. Because I was like, usually I just throw the stream off topic. You did throw it off topic. I mean, that's part of the reason why, you know, you stream, right? To interact with other people. It's far more interesting to have people to interact with while you do this. Otherwise, you're just talking to yourself in a room, which feels weird at times. And if I ever wanted to, like if I ever really want to, I can always make the video offline. I don't have to stream to make the video. But I mean, I probably shouldn't actually, since I have people here that actually who wanna chat, you know. Chill AF music. Yeah, the music's pretty good. This is a little. So I found this when I was doing Advent of Code. I can send you friend to Discord. Oh, hey, Gandalf. Are you talking to me, Gandalf, or are you talking to Kajani? Yeah, the music is actually, if you Google lo-fi generator, it's actually algorithmically generated lo-fi music. I found this because I made a bunch of videos or made a bunch of streams solving advent of code problems, which advent of code is like daily problems, coding problems. But when I was solving them, I was like, I'd like some music that I could listen to that's nice, but I don't want it to cause any issues with, royalty checks or, copyright issues or whatever. So I found this site, and it works pretty well. I'm happy with it. You're saying the name correctly. Oh, okay. Thank you for reassuring me, because I'm always worried that I'm butchering the... Gandalf, I'm in the small truck. I'm coming to Germany. Oh wow, so you're actually working, huh? Gandalf, you're on the clock, huh? Be careful driving and listening or watching the stream, Oh, that's a good idea. I always forget about Google Translate. What is it? Google Translate. I'm loading a pants. What? What are you talking about, Gandalf? Let's see if Google Translate can detect this.
Kajani.
Yeah, okay, cool, I am.
Kajani.
I need to do that more often. I need to remember that whenever I see people's usernames. Excuse me. Ugh. That sneeze overtook me for a second there. Oh, you said see the Finnish side. Google Translate. Let's see.
Kajani.
Kajani.
Kajani. Kajani. Kajani. Kajani.
Nice. Bless you. Yeah, so sometimes I'm not the smartest bloke on the planet.
Kajani. Kajani.
So I am saying it properly in English, but I'm saying it wrong in Finnish.
Kajani.
Yeah, Kajani. Try Czech Republic. Okay. Let's see.
Kajani.
So it's basically the same.
Kajani.
So those are almost identical in my opinion.
Kajani.
A little bit different. The Czech is a little different, but it's very subtle.
Kajani.
In my opinion.
Kajani.
Natural Finnish speaker. Yeah, yeah, I don't know about that, but I do make a best effort to try to say people's names right, because I don't know. I just think that's the respectful thing to do, And honestly, I have a really strangely spelled name. Most people spell Steven like this, most people spell Steven either like this, like this, or they spell it like this. But for whatever reason, my parents, not for whatever reason, I know why they did. My parents decided to spell it like that. And so my whole life, people have been spelling my name wrong and saying it wrong. Yeah, Gandalf, be careful, man. Yeah, see you, man. Be careful. Be careful driving. Safe drive. Hope you get to Germany okay. Hope you get to Germany okay and you get back home okay. Hope you have a good day. We'll see you next time. Okay, I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and walk through this. So, Kajani, if I miss any of your chats, I apologize. But I think I'm just gonna go ahead and walk through this now. Let's see. We can put Docker down. We don't need Docker up anymore. Close you. Okay, so how do I want to start this? One of the types of apps I like to build is console apps. And one of the libraries I like to use to build these console apps is Spectre Console. So if you're in the .NET space and you're familiar with console applications, you know there's quite a few libraries out there that have different APIs for letting you do this. .NET also has one that's called system.command line. It doesn't get a lot of love, but it doesn't get a lot of love, and probably rightfully so, because they haven't yet published a non-beta version. But this is, I believe, what's used to help build the .NET CLI, actually. Oh yeah, here you go. So they actually call that out. But I've been reaching for Spectre Console more recently. However, Spectre Console doesn't natively integrate with .NET's hosting model. So they actually provide their own way to do dependency injection. So you can see here in their docs, they actually basically want you to define a service collection, and then you're supposed to implement two different things. You're supposed to implement a type registrar, and you're supposed to implement a type resolver. And so it's kind of up to you to figure out how you want that registrar and how you want that resolver to work based on the DI system that you maybe are already working with. And so I personally, though, when I build console apps, I like to use Microsoft's hosting model for .NET. They have a couple different hosts, but they have a generic one, just a kind of a create, I think it's called Create Application Builder, which gives you a lot of functionality just out of the box, right? So here's they kind of list it out here, but you get environment variables, command line arguments, it automatically loads app settings, secrets for development environments, you get some built-in logging providers, and then of course you get the DI framework. So what I've been doing is I've actually been making Spectre CLI and the host model work together, and so I wanted to kind of show you my approach and how I make that work in case maybe you're trying to do the same thing. So let's go ahead and create a new project. So I'll say .NET new console out Spectre example. Let's see, Spectre host example. Let's call it that. And we'll go ahead and CD into that. And then we'll make this a little bigger so we can see it. Actually, before we do that, let's add the Spectre dependencies. And let's actually add all our dependencies. So we need the Spectre packages. So quick start. So we need these two guys. We need the console package. And we also need the CLI package. And then we also need the Microsoft hosting package. So let's go to NuGet.org. Spectre, or not Spectre. What do we want? We want Microsoft hosting. I think it's Microsoft.extensions.hosting is what it is. Yeah, here we go. I want this guy. Go ahead and copy this. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this now. Let's go back to the Spectre docs real quick. So you can see when you want to create an app with the Spectre CLI framework, you're going to always start by creating a new command app, right? And then for dependency injection, you're going to do this. So let's go ahead and just copy this snippet of code. And let's head over to program.cs. And let's stick this in here. We'll delete what was already there, and then let's do CA. There we go. We don't have a greeter yet. We also don't have a type register. We also don't have a default command. Okay. We need to add this from Spectre CLI. And my editor config is complaining about using explicit types, which is fine. Okay, so then what we need to do is we now need to define a host, right? So the way we would do this is typically you would say await host dot create. We need a username for this. Create default, create application builder. And then you configure services, right? And we're not going to do that. We don't have any services to configure just yet. We don't need the host context. We can make this static. And then what we want to do down here is for now, we'll just do run async, I think is what we'll do for now. Oh, we need to call build too. .build. Let's see. What's this complaining about? Does not contain. Services.add. Yes, it does. It does configure. Create application builder. Oh, is it create default? Create default builder is what I want. There we go. Sorry, create default builder for the host. And then we'll fix that. I'll get in and add a discard. Oh, and just call this context like that. You can simplify it. Okay. So the problem is though, is that we basically want the service collection that's going to go into our command app, which is going to be used by this type registrar, to be the same services collection that our host uses. So that's where we need to kind of integrate things. That's where we need to make the service collection from the host somehow get into the type registrar that our Spectre CLI command app uses. So the way we do this is by using that type registrar and that type resolver that Spectre CLI asks us to define. We're going to start with the resolver. We're going to start with actually defining the resolver because the registrar, the registrar depends on the resolver is how it works. Did I say that backwards? Let me look. I may have said that backwards. Yes, so the registrar depends on the resolver. So we're going to start with the resolver. So here we go. We're going to start with a public. Let's actually just do an internal sealed class, and this is going to be our type resolver, and it's going to implement I type resolver, which comes from the Spectre CLI namespace. And you can see Copilot already has an idea of what we should do here. But what we want to do is we actually want to make this dependent on the Microsoft hosting model. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, this implements I type resolver. It's also going to implement I disposable. And we are going to say, we're going to have a private read-only field, which is going to be I host. And then we are going to say public type resolver takes an I host, which is great. And then we need to actually implement our interfaces here. So let's go ahead and implement that interface, and we'll implement the disposable. And the disposable is pretty straightforward. Let's move that to the bottom. Right, because basically we just need to be able to get rid of, we need to dispose of the host, since this instance, this class instance owns that host in a field. We need to also dispose of the host whenever this class is disposed of. And then we can actually use a primary constructor here, which is great. And then now we need to implement resolving. So the way we resolve it is just return type is not null. And then if it's not null, then we're just going to use the host services to get that required service. Otherwise, we'll return null. Just like that. So that's our type resolver. Now we need to implement our type registrar. So let's implement a new one that's called internal sealed class type registrar. And this is going to implement I type registrar like that. And then again, this depends on the type resolver. So what we need to do is we need to implement this interface, and that will help us get a good starting point. So let's implement that interface. So the first thing we need to do is we need to be able to build our type resolver. And in order to build the type resolver, we're going to need an iHost builder, because that's where we get our host from. So we'll say new type resolver, and we'll call this builder, and we're going to call build, right? So this is us, right? So since we're integrating the hosting, the .NET hosting model with the command app, we're basically saying, okay, we're going to let the command app take care of building our host. So whenever the command app instantiates this, or whenever we instantiate this registrar and pass it to the command app, whenever the command app calls this build method, that's also going to build our host. And so now what we need to do is we actually need to pass in a builder as a dependency to the type registrar. So this is going to be iHost builder, like this. And then we're going to have a private field in here. And this is going to be private read-only iHost builder, and that's going to be where we get our builder from. Let's see, and this is, oh yeah, we need to set that equal to builder, like that. And now we actually need to implement these methods, which are basically just going to serve as wrappers of the underlying host, or the underlying builder. So just like we would register services on the builder, we're just going to do that here in the type registrar. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll say underscore builder dot configure services. This will be a lambda. We don't need the context, but we do need the services collection. And then we'll just say services dot add singleton, and that'll be our service and our implementation. We'll use a discard to make everybody happy, and then we're just going to do the same thing here, right? So now we're registering an instance. So this will be same basic thing, like that. And then for lazy, we'll just register a func, right? So we'll have builder dot, actually, let's add a, yeah, let's just do builder dot configure services. And this will be a services. And then we'll say services dot add singleton service, and then we'll pass in that factory method, and we'll use a discard. And so that's our register lazy. So now we're basically, again, this type registrar is now just serving as kind of a wrapper around the builder. And so whenever we actually, we're never going to actually use the type registrar to register instances. Hey, Cal, can you give me that Batman? Thank you. My kids brought a Batman toy into the living room. Okay, so yeah, so now what we have basically is we have the ability to have this registrar reference the builder, and specifically the builder is then going to be used in the type resolver to actually get the registered services that we've registered up above using the normal .NET hosting model. I know that was a word salad, but that's essentially what's happening. So now that we have that in place, we can now add a little bit of syntactic sugar to this to make this a little bit easier. So the last thing we need to make this work is we just need an extension method to make this a little bit more succinct. So let's add a static class called host builder extensions. And in here, we're just going to have a single method called public static command app build app this iHost builder, and then we'll have a var registrar, right? So this is going to be how we wire up the dependency injection between the hosting model and Spectre CLI. And then we'll say var app equals new command app, and then we'll just return that app for now. Oh, we need to use explicit types. And we need to add a accessibility modifier there so we can actually simplify these news here. Simplify those. So now what we can do is instead of having all of this, now we can just do all of this straight off the host builder. So now we can say instead of build, we'll call build app, which is our custom method down below. And instead of run async on the host, we're calling run async on the command app, the Spectre CLI app. So instead of not passing any params, we'll actually pass in the args here because it needs the args. And we can actually pass in the args up here as well to our builder like that. In case we need to do any kind of configuration or registration based on arguments that we passed in. Let's write all that out. Okay, so now this should build, but let's actually demo this working, right? So let's add a command. Let's add a internal sealed class called greeting command. And this will just implement the command interface from Spectre CLI. I've said that a lot this video, Spectre CLI, haven't I? So we'll just do implement abstract class like this. And then all we'll do here is we'll just inject in the ANSI console, right? Because that's one of the benefits of using Spectre CLI is we can use some prettier markup. And we will say, oh, whoops, I don't want to inject it into the execute method. I want to inject it into the actual command. So ANSI console, private, read only ANSI console is equal to console. And now we'll come down here and we'll say console hello world, and we'll make it bold. Oh, and we also need to return an exit code, so we'll return 0, like that. And then we'll go up here into our command app, and we'll just make the default command the greeting command. I think greeting command. I'll have to explicitly declare command app like that. Let's see. Oh, and we need to specify the type over here, which means we can actually just do the new here like that. Okay, so now with all this set up, right, we should be able to register our ANSI console here, right, as a singleton. And then because we've wired up the type registrar and the type resolver to our host, we should resolve the ANSI console that we're injecting into our greeting command to actually print out our markup. So let's go ahead and test this, right? Quit all. We'll say .NET run. And this should just print a greeting to us. Hello world. Nice. Okay, cool. So it's working. And so now what you can do is you can basically use all your normal, you know, .NET dependency injection practices with configuring services. You can use all of the built-in functionality from the host, so you can, you know, configure default, configure host configuration, you configure logging, all that good stuff that you would want to do off the host, you can still do, and then your console app will resolve all of its dependencies using the services you've registered in your host. You don't have to have these two separate services collections or deal with resolving from two different services collections. Everything just talks to each other really nicely. So this is the way I've been approaching it. Maybe there's a better way out there. If you know of a better way or aware of a better way, or maybe you have a better way, let me know. Or if you see something I could do differently here to improve it, let me know. But this is the approach I've been taking. I'll actually push this up to a repo so you have this for reference, and I'll link to it in the description. But if you found this helpful, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you have any suggestions to do this differently, I'd love to hear those as well. So I'll talk to you guys later. All right, so that's that video, which I don't think it was a particularly good one, but I tried to do it justice. Okay, what time is it? It's 12:49. Okay, I'll go for another 15 minutes and then I'm gonna hop off. We have a basketball game we got to go to at 2:30. But I think a couple hours of streaming is plenty. Let me actually. That was great. I appreciate that. I was like, I try to make the most out of my one take videos. I kind of made a decision at the beginning of the year that, you know, I wanted to make content, but I also needed to make sure that the content wasn't gonna like consume my life. So it needed to, I don't know, it needed to be easy to make. If I put a lot of effort into making it really high production and really thought out, it wouldn't be sustainable for me with everything else going on in life. Oh, Gandalf did send me a Discord friend request. Nice. I don't know, maybe it makes sense we start our own Discord, huh? We could have our own Discord server. Maybe if we get more, I mean, we only have 3 of us right now, but maybe if more people want to hop into a Discord, we can start one up. Okay, let me write this out. Git add. Oh, actually, hold on. Envim. I'm gonna add a README to this. readme.md. Spectre host example. This is a small example of how I'm approaching wiring up the standard .NET hosting model with spectre.console.cli dependency injection system. This way I can use the host to configure my app, but then make sure spectre.console.cli uses the hosts services collection to resolve dependencies. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Git add, git init, git add, git. Oh, actually, hold on. I don't want to add all those. Let's see. .NET new git ignore git status git remove. That's what git. How do I unstage? Git unstage. Git unstage all. Git reset. Git status. There we go. Git add. Git commit m chore initial. Okay. And then gh repo create. Yep. This is an example of how I make the .NET host play nicely with spectre.console.cli's dependency injection support. I should also probably npx IT license name output license .md. Oh, whoops, that's not going to work. All right, Kajani, I'm coming up on my 2-hour mark here. You're still here. I think Gandalf left. If anybody's still here, I'm coming up on my 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna probably be wrapping up in another 5 or 10 minutes. But I got most of what I wanted to do today. I wanted to get a couple videos recorded. I wanted to check out that self-hosting thing that Convex published. I didn't actually get it set up, but I'll probably do that on the next stream. I'm close to ending. Anything? What? You mentioned something up above and I missed it. You said, no, I don't mind Kajani, but at least you're not that one dude that calls me. Also, for the record, I'm a guy. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I figured that was the case, but yeah, definitely for the record. Nothing wrong with that. I think Gandalf left. He's driving. I think you're the only one here. It's just me and you. But yeah, no, I'm getting ready to. I took care of pretty much everything I wanted to take care of, and I want to have some time to hang out before we head out to basketball. I've got a bunch. I actually have a bunch of chores on a bunch of my repos that I need to do. I have a bunch of open issues that I need to just sit down and take care of. This would be a good one to work on at some point on stream. I'm actually surprised people have downloaded this. I have 1,200 downloads. I mean, it's a good implementation. I put a lot of work into this. There's another library that does something very similar to this that excuse me. This is one I really want to do. Migrate this app off for sale. Johnny, do I do Python? I do know Python, but I don't really work in it. The main program, the main project I use for Python is a little library that I maintain called OnSpring API. It's basically like a toolkit for interacting with a particular API. That's all written in Python. But no, I don't typically reach for Python to do a lot with. It's just not my. It hasn't grabbed me. I know how to write it, but it's just not my cup of tea personally. I'm actually though getting ready to kind of go down a rabbit hole with this book I bought. I bought this book called Building a Large Language Model. I have an on porpoise that would need some cleaning and sound effects and some else stuff. Oh, nice. So you've done some Python stuff. That's cool. Very cool. You know where I'm going? I don't know where you're going. I do not know where you're going. All right. Well, I think my stream just ended. Something happened. Because my restream just said offline. Well, no, it says YouTube still says I'm live, but would you be interested to look at code and add something? Oh, yeah, if you want to send over your repo, I'd be happy to take a look at it. So you can send it in Discord or post it in the chat. I'd be happy to take a look at it. I thought my stream died there for a second because in Restream or in my OBS, the Restream plugin said I was offline, but I guess I came back or something. I don't know. I can see your webcam on the full screen. Yeah, I put my webcam on the full screen because I don't have anything else to do at the moment. And I'm probably gonna leave here now. But yeah, if you send me your repo link, I'm happy to take a peek at it. I don't know how much I'll have to contribute, but happy to make a stream out of that. That'd be kind of fun. Contributing to a Chatter's repo. That'd be kind of cool. It's all in the text file. Ah, yeah, no worries. Yeah, put it in a text file. We'll take a look at it. All right. I will see you later, Kajani. Have a good rest of your day, man. And anybody else who's lurking here, I hope you're having a good day. Hope you have a good Saturday. And I'll see you either in another video or another short, or maybe another stream. So I'll see you guys.